Hi everybody, my name is Greg, and in this video I'm going to introduce the concepts behind React. This video is the first in a series that's guiding people through building a Pokédex in React, which is a project that I have that just introduces people to React concepts. If you're interested in that project, then you can go ahead and find the link in the comments, which will lead you to a sign up and get you access to all of the material. Now, in this video, I'll talk about number one, what React actually is. Number two, I'll talk about what we actually use React for. And number three, I will talk about why React makes sense to me and why I like it so much. So with that being said, let's get started.
Okay, so what is React? React is an open source JavaScript library first released in 2013 that was built and is still maintained by Facebook. Some people call it a framework, but a lot don't. And if you look at the React.js main homepage, then it literally says it's a library right on the front. So we're just going to call it a library in all of my videos. Since its inception, React has grown into one of the most popular tools to build user interfaces on the web. And the skill set is still in really high demand even in 2020. You can find this by just a really simple Google search and looking at the amount of downloads for React versus the competitor frameworks like Vue and Angular. What is cool about React, in my opinion, is that number one is that the learning curve is pretty low. It's especially true if you only focus on doing the things that React does. Now, if you Google around about the learning curve about React, you'll find that some people actually say that the learning curve is high. But those people specifically refer to building more complex applications. The frameworks like Angular and Vue, they package a lot of functionality inside them, whereas React doesn't even try to do that. So if you want to write an application with some more advanced functionality, then in React, you kind of have to learn how to do it and build it yourself, whereas these other frameworks provide you some guidance. So that's why a lot of people think that React is a harder learning curve, but if you're just trying to do the UI rendering, then React actually has a pretty low learning curve. The other thing is that you do need to know a little bit of JavaScript because the library is written in JavaScript, but it's not, there's an extension in JavaScript called JSX, and that's what React will use. And the truth is that you can learn React with very fundamental knowledge of JavaScript. You don't really need to know it that well. In fact, when I learned React, I didn't really know JavaScript at all. And I just kind of learned as I go. And that's what I would tell people, that if you know even one programming language and you're familiar with the paradigm of programming, then you can learn React and just learn JavaScript, what you need to know on the way. You'll get better at JavaScript and you'll learn React. Now, React allows you to create really nice user interfaces really quickly. And I think that's one of the best things about it, because I'm a strong believer in project-based learning, in being able to build something cool as a motivation for learning to code, and React allows me to do this very, very easily. So let's move on to what exactly React is used for. In the previous section, I did mention that React is used to create beautiful user interfaces on web applications, and that's true. Okay, but what does that actually mean? What does React allow you to do? React at its core is component-based. Now, what's a component? I will have a video on that, but you can think of a component as just kind of a black box. It's just a reusable piece of code that is all focused around one single purpose. Programmers might say that a component is highly cohesive and it's loosely coupled. So highly cohesive means that all the code inside that component is related to performing the same task. And loosely coupled means that other components in the system don't necessarily know how this component is implemented, and they don't rely on the behavior of this component. Those are two good practices in general when doing software architecture. This allows the developer to break the user interface into isolated parts. Then you can build up your user interface as just a combination of all of these little parts, saving you a lot of time in the end. When you use these little components, the user knows what input to give. You can give it input, and you have an expectation of how it's going to behave. However, you don't necessarily need to know what's implemented on the inside, and that just takes away a lot of complexity. And this is pretty common in other user interface programming, along with just all software in general. So let's go ahead and look at an example on the React.js site. Now, if we just scroll down a little bit, we can see these 3 columns: declarative, component-based, and learn once, write anywhere, right in the center of the screen. And you'll notice that they all look exactly the same. Why is this? Well, they're probably written as a component, meaning that one developer probably created a component that displayed a header and some body text, and then a separate developer who was building the entire React homepage used that component and passed in some information to that component 3 separate times in a row. Theoretically, that developer could add 100 more of these little components, and they wouldn't have to write any extra code other than telling the component what to display. Now, the same can be said for any of the other components on this page. Like, you can scroll up to the top and you can see that all the menu buttons behave the same. Or you can type a value into the search bar and you can see that the autocomplete function displays all of the options in a similar way. Using components in this way is just really smart because it allows you to divide a large system into easy to understand pieces. System maintenance becomes a lot easier because each component can be written in isolation and also tested very easily. And a component can be reused many times in many places, so it saves you a ton of development cost. One more thing that I really like about React is this concept of combining the HTML and the JavaScript. To do this, React uses something called JSX, which is an extension of JavaScript. It essentially allows you to group the logic of how the component should be displayed and the actual markup of the component all in the same component. People who are used to traditional methods of web development don't particularly like this, but I think it makes the code very easy to understand and easy to debug. So there's a reason that React has become very popular. It's extremely easy to learn, and it's a good way to build very beautiful user interfaces. And its focus on components makes it really easy to scale if you do it correctly. In the upcoming videos, we'll be building a very basic React application. If you're looking to get started, then you can go ahead and check out the rest of the videos on this specific React playlist, or just the rest of the channel in general. And if you want to get started right now, then you can check out my videos about Hello World and React, where I walk you through every single step to get started on React from a fresh machine out of the box. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, then please like or subscribe, and I'll see you next time.